Welcome back to another Saturday morning. I hope you guys had a killer week, a productive week. We've got a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the giveaway winner. So whoever won that TeamE foldable table, I'm going to announce a winner on that today. Also, the winner for the 8 different codes actually for the Watch app. By the end of today, you'll know if you've won because I'll have to direct message you back on Twitter with that code. We're going to be talking about a service appointment that I recently went through that my car is still in with a very strange thing that happened to my car that has got an ongoing repair that they're going to be needing to do. We're going to take a look at the latest software updates and what people are getting right now and what to expect in the one that's coming here shortly and actually starting to roll out right now. We're going to talk about the upcoming potential facelift of the Model 3 and some new updates on the Magic Dock for the supercharging. Now, to pick this review, it's not super scientific. I had my youngest daughter, who can barely read, come in here and randomly select through and point to one. So I want to thank everybody who had, applied for this and put it down in the comments and followed me on Twitter and all that. I really appreciate that. But the winner of this one today is Raymond. Raymond said, "I want one. They appear to be useful. I like your truthful reviews." So I appreciate that, Raymond. Again, thanks everyone else. And I'm going to do a ton of giveaways this year, you guys. So just keep on the channel. Make sure your bell's rung so you catch all those. So Raymond, just follow me on Twitter. Just go on and direct message me, or you can email me here. Just in some way, get in direct contact with me. Let me know it's you, and then I'll get your information. We'll take care of that. Next up, let's talk about what software updates are out there right now. So the majority of people are on the 2022.44.30.5, but 2022.44.30.10 is rolling out to all the full self-drive people out there. So if you don't have that, you'll probably get in that soon. About 25% of people have that right now. 25.6% of people, at least according to the Stats app, have that update. So watch for that rolling out. And if you haven't got it yet, it usually takes about 2 weeks from the time it's released to get around, so that one should be coming. On the non-full self-drive, the majority of people have the 2022.44.25.3, and this is, of course, if you are a part of the advanced program. So in the tab under software updates, you just go down and make sure you're selecting advanced there rather than just the standard, and then you'll get the updates faster while they're still being tested. However, 2023.2.0.5 is the latest update that is starting to show itself that has some interesting new features to it, and we're going to talk about some of those here next. So this update, the 2023.2.0.5, has less than 1% of people have this already. However, it is starting to actually roll out. And these actually have two different features that are being added to the car that are actually kind of notable. A lot of updates don't have a lot of things that really matter, kind of internal correction type things, but these are actually a couple noticeable ones. So here's what they are. The first one is auto-heated steering wheel. So right now, the steering wheel kind of pulses the heat. It comes on, comes off, comes on, comes off when you have that turned on. But now with this update, it's going to be matched to the temperature control inside of your car. So if you had it set at, 80 degrees in your car, your steering wheel is going to be a lot warmer than if you had it set at, 70 or 60 degrees inside of your car. So it's going to now match your temperature, your climate control, which is great. Obviously, if you don't have a newer vehicle with the heated steering wheel, this is going to apply to you. The second part of this is Sentry Mode. And so Sentry Mode is Tesla's security system. It's a program that uses the cameras around the car to record what's going on around you. And so at the current time, what happens is when the car is actually recording you, the lights will flash to let people know you've just been, picked up and that Sentry Mode has noticed you. But now what it's going to do is when it's recording, it's going to actually pulse the lights. They're going to actually start pulsing. So what the release notes actually say is when a threat is detected, Sentry Mode will softly pulse the headlights to indicate that your vehicle is recording video. The pulse stops after 60 seconds or when the vehicle is unlocked. So that's kind of a neat feature. So it's going to really be another, way to let people know, don't mess with my car. Something's happening right now that people aren't used to seeing. Now, next up, we're going to talk about my service appointment because there's a lot of stuff going on there and a very strange problem that I have never heard of from anybody is going on with my Model Y. But let's back up a minute. So what happened was when we bought the car, it's the 2022 Model Y, long-range Model Y, it's never been able to use the adaptive cruise control or the auto steer. It's just never been able to do that. One time it does come on, but then it quickly goes back off, and it says that the camera's alignment needs to be realigned, and that's the error that comes up every time. So okay, fine, it needs to realign the cameras. We were lazy for a long time, and we finally said, okay, let's get it in there to service and get this taken care of. So we take it in there. This was about 4 weeks ago now. I go in there, drop it off on a Thursday morning. They say they got it all fixed. By the way, there was two things. One, there was the camera itself that was having that issue, but then also my right speaker had like a little B kind of sound inside of it. Like when you were listening to any kind of podcast or any voice, was just like really rattling, which is like, you know, for a $70,000 car, no, not going to deal with that. So set it in for both of those. So next day they call me, come pick up your car. So they Ubered me back home. They Ubered me back to Tesla Service Center, which is something they'll always do, which is fantastic. And I will just say that if you've watched all my videos of different service appointments in the past, I've been very favorable of Tesla service. I am not anti-Tesla in any way, especially their service has been pretty good for me until this time. And I'm kind of pissed, to be honest. And so I picked the car up. And now if you get an alignment or something that involves your autopilot system, what happens is you have to recalibrate the car. So it says it could take up to like 60 miles or 100 miles you have to drive to recalibrate it. It took about 13 miles for me to recalibrate. You see the little around the steering wheel, it kind of, you know, circles and lets you know when it's done. And the second that was done, nothing was fixed. Okay, it never turned back on. Hadn't turned back on for the next day after that. Nothing had been solved with the service appointment. When I turned on the radio, still exact same buzz, and the service note said it was all fixed, okay? So I got back in touch with the service center and I said, did you guys even test this? Did you even take 2 seconds to see if there was this actually fixed? No, they didn't test it. I said, okay, well, this time when I come back in, because this is like 2 hours of my day to come down there, maybe more, will you actually test it before you tell me it's fixed rather than just, I don't know what they did. They said, yeah, we'll do an extended test on it. Okay, fine. They now have another appointment set up for me to fix my cameras, because what they found out was when they put together my Model Y up in that area, the wiring harness up there, they put it together wrong to where it was pinching wires and all of this stuff, which is like, what? And it damaged the wiring harness. So they were able to get it so it works for auto steer now, so that works, but they have to send out somebody to my house to replace the wiring harness next month, or it's like 2 weeks. They didn't have any in stock. So I was like, how did that happen? The wiring harness was installed incorrectly? Like, what is this kind of an issue? Anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on that, how it goes. I'm not sure how invasive it's going to be. If they're coming to my house, it can't be too terrible. But, I mean, that's kind of freaky. Now, next up, a little bit of updates on the Model 3 potential facelift that it's getting. Now, we've seen it around California a few different times now where it's been spotted a Model 3 having camouflage on it on the front and on the back of the car. Now, of course, anytime you report on something like this, a lot of this is all speculation and hearsay. But it's suspected that this is a part of something called the Project Highland. So if you're unfamiliar with Project Highland, again, it's not something that's been officially confirmed by Tesla, but here's what we know about it. It's been around for about 6 months, or about 6 months ago is when it started, in the second quarter of 2022. It supposedly is the code name for the revamp of the Model 3. Now, like I said, Tesla has in no way confirmed that this is happening, so this is just suspicion at this point. In fact, Tesla has pointedly said multiple times that they do not refresh vehicles, but I mean, we've seen that they actually do with, you know, the refreshed models of the Model Y. We've seen it now recently with the Model S and the Model X, you know, the new screens and stuff inside of there. So it's very possible that this is all happening because we have seen refreshes. But let's talk about what reports are actually giving us this kind of lead, this potential suspicion that we're going to get a refreshed Model 3 soon. So the reports all started last month. Reuters shared that Tesla was working on a new Model 3 with fewer parts and some improvements, and it came from an anonymous source familiar with Tesla projects. The report said that the new Model 3 would get an exterior and powertrain tweaks, as well as a new infotainment system. Now, Tesserati said that Tesla filed paperwork to the city of Fremont labeled Highland BL3 HOL Demo, and here's what that said. Demolition of existing equipment and utilities in preparation for a new hang-on line, demolition of existing slab-on-grade, pit evacuation, and construction of new concrete pit at first floor of assembly building. So based on the filing and the multiple cars we've seen with camo on it, it appears that they've been working on this project for about 6 months. Now, again, of course, this is all suspicion, but it is expected that it's going to be going into production mid-2023 by, well, basically the third quarter of 2023, starting in Shanghai and then following in Fremont. And we expect to hear more about this in the 2023 Investors Day on March 21st. And of course, I'll keep you posted as I learn more. Next, there's a little bit more information on the Magic Dock or CC adapter that we're talking about at the superchargers. So as you know, in North America, Tesla is expecting to open up their supercharger network to other non-Tesla EVs. EVs. We've already seen this happen in Europe. This was supposed to happen by the end of last year, but of course it didn't. Now in Europe, where this has already been rolled out, the Teslas already have and use the CCS adapter. So it's pretty easy to just open it up to everybody else. There's no changes that had to be made. But here in the United States, we have the proprietary connector, right? We have our Tesla little plug-in there that no one else uses, and the supercharger network is all set up for that. So they've been trying to figure out how do we then make it so it accepts the CCS adapter. So the way that Tesla appears to be still planning to solve this is to just offer the adapter at the different charging locations. Now I'll mention that you can just pick one of these things up either on Tesla's website or like this one came from Hansshow. And of course, I'll put the link for these down below in the description because if you buy it through a company like Hansshow, we have big discounts that you can get on these. But if you're a Tesla owner, you don't need one of these. The only reason why if you're a Tesla owner, you're going to need one of these is if you want to, go to some Charge America or some other type of charging station that uses the CCS adapter outside of the supercharging network. I like keeping it in my car because I like having the ability to have fast charging, not only at superchargers when I'm going to do any kind of long distance traveling. So anyway, it appears that Tesla has leaked their solution for this, and we have a visual of it. It actually came from Brandon Flashed. He sent a tweet. He said, it appears that the connector reciprocal is much different and much larger, called the Magic Dock. This is basically a CCS adapter that serves as the new Tesla connector dock when you don't need the CCS. Again, in other words, you don't need the CCS because you are a Tesla owner. So really any day now we could start seeing the supercharging network opened up to other EVs, but it looks like the current path is to just offer the CCS adapter at the superchargers, and there's a new way of docking it that's going to allow you to have that as well as still be able to use the proprietary connection that Teslas all have. Now, this last one I'm throwing in here because I just found it kind of interesting that this is where the world is going. I mean, being a guy who's into Tesla and technology and all that, I mean, it's like you see this stuff coming, but I didn't really think about this specifically. So there's this company called Do Not Pay, and on February 22nd this year, so just like next month, they were scheduled to have an AI robot defend somebody in court over a traffic violation. Founder of the company, Joshua Browder, posted on Twitter, on February 22nd at 1:30 p.m., history will be made for the first time ever. A robot will represent someone in a classroom. Do Not Pay AI will whisper in someone's ear exactly what to say. We will release the results and share more after it happens. Wish us luck. Now, we're in the time of robots. We're seeing it happen all over the place. I mean, they've been in production for a long time. Tesla's new robot is certainly quite interesting. But the idea of one defending us in court is, well, it was intriguing. However, the state bar prosecutors did not feel this way. In fact, they threatened the man behind the company that we just talked about and said that if he did go through with this, then there could be jail time for him. Now, the way that this bot works, it's not an actual physical robot like the Tesla bot. What it is a robot that lives on a smartphone. And what it does is it listens to the conversation that's happening in court, and then it communicates with the defendant through a set of headphones. And the idea here is that it's going to have all this database of information and whatever they programmed into it that it can pull and draw from to give you the best possible responses to what's happened in the past in other situations. And they have a lot of online stuff. It says Do Not Pay has already used AI-generated form letters and chatbots to help people secure refunds for in-flight Wi-Fi that didn't work, as well as lower bills and dispute parking tickets. Apparently, they've done this with over 2 million clients, but they weren't quite willing to face 6 months in jail to put this experiment into an actual courtroom. But I'm curious about this. Is this really where we are? Are you guys willing to accept this, that a robot could replace a lawyer in court representing you? Now, we're kind of looking at this with autopilot, right? We're saying let's replace a driver with a whole bunch of data that's been recorded from thousands of hours inside of a car, and we're saying the car is capable of making a better driving decision than we are based upon all of this knowledge and data. Well, that's what they're doing with this AI bot on your phone, is they're saying, well, based upon all these hours and tons of data of different classrooms, we can then pick up on what's happening in the courtroom and give you information that you can't possibly have retained in your mind based on all these other things. There's a lot, obviously, to unpack there, but I am curious if you guys think we're ready for this. Is this really the world we're ready to be in, where we're defended by robots? And last up, as always, autopilot. How is autopilot acting this week, and more specifically, full self-drive acting this week? I've had a great week. Ever since the last update that we all got, or most of us got, or 25% of us got, I've just had very little phantom braking, which has just been, it's been great, because I just feel my shoulders kind of relaxing a little bit, and I've actually had multiple drives now, at least I'd say 3 out of maybe 5 that I went on in the last week. And again, maybe 10 to 15 miles, not really huge, where the car has actually taken over and done the entire trip without any interactions. Again, granted, I'm not in a city. I'm on just kind of, regular town country roads for the most part. I mean, there's little city driving, but not like downtown city with people and stuff happening all over the place. So I've been pretty impressed with that. If you live inside the city, you're obviously going to be up against way bigger challenges than someone who lives more in the sleeper towns around the city, suburbia, like where I live. But I've been pretty impressed with that. So those of you guys who have gotten the latest update on the full self-drive front, how are you liking it? Are you seeing less issues with the phantom braking? Which, by the way, if you're new to what that is, that's just where the car will think there's something in its path and slow down really quickly, kind of make a jerk motion, usually up to 5 miles per hour. But it's been pretty good for me last week. So that's going to wrap up this week, you guys. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate all of you guys who have subscribed to the channel. Remember, if you like giveaways, if you like drives, if you like all that kind of stuff, subscribe and be a part of the channel. And man, I've given away hundreds of different items here on this channel with my sponsors, so make sure that you stick around and you'll be a part of one of those eventually. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.